Hey! It's been a while, but I've managed to make it back. Today's topic is on hull building. Again. When I went to make my last video on the topic, I wasn't expecting to get anywhere near as broad of a reach as it ended up having. A lot of you guys were very new to the game, and decoration usage was well outside the scope of what you were looking to learn. I hear ya. This video is for you guys. And don't worry, unlike last time, we'll be doing the entire hull today. Grab your emotional support buddy, and sit tight as I make a hull for tonight's lesson. Alright, so the first step of any build is to get an outline of the area we're working with, so we can build our shape around it, and just in general, visualize vaguely the end shape we're going for. So this area up here is going to be my deck, so I'm just going to start working down from the sides here, so we get a bit of a cross section. Oop, forgot mirror mode. Hit Alt-N to place mirror mode on the center. Looks pretty good on height, so let's do the below waterline section. Making that roughly the same as it was above. We round it off with these beam slopes. Okay. Can definitely work with this. Moving up to the front. Let's make the leading edge of our bow. Now that we have the shape of the leading edge of our bow, let's go ahead and define the shape of our deck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these angled triangle corners to do that. So start with that, and then I'm going to jump right into a 4-meter slope. Like that. So you can already see we keep that 45-degree leading surface, overhang as I call it, to part the water as it rises up towards the deck, whenever we're like splashing into a wave or something like that. Do that one more. We already have a very sleek bow to start, and what I'm going to do is we're going to do even more. And how we do that is staggering these slopes a bit. So because we don't have a 6-meter beam slope, I'm just going to use a 2-meter wedge like that, and then place the 4-meter beam slopes. 4 plus 2 gives us 6, and that mimics the shape of a 6-meter slope. Let's do that again. 2-meter plus the 4-meter. Add the wedge, and we're getting a nice sleek bow already. We're going to have to hold this a bit. I'm going to look down it to see where that shape will end. It will end before our cutoff area, which is the midpoint here. So that's good. That's what I'm shooting for. Got a little hasty placing that guy there. And we're just going to keep doing this for a bit more. Did that same mistake again. Alright, so we're approaching the end. We only have one more block width to go before we're at the sides of our hull. And honestly, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. We bump out like that. And then how we finish, place another 2-meter beam slope. And then we just end at the inverted triangle piece. And then we'll just work downwards like that. I'm actually going to redo that section in a second. What we're doing for the layer underneath this one, so we're going to go to our transitions tab, and then we're going to move to these 4-meter offsets here. And when you place them as such, they give that sort of angle. And we're just going to place these all the way down to where our water line's at. As you can see, everything that would be placed below this will shift to the red color because it's, well, under the water. And now we move these back 2 meters relative to the one just in front because we're following or building off of these angled triangle blocks. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get all the way to the back. I've been a little hasty to build that side outline as far forward as I did, but we'll make it work. Alright, what's next is the below waterline area. So I'm just going to build this forward. Ooh, we need a shift color. And we're just going to end it like that. Nice flat surface. Go ahead a bit. And what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to build this out of 4 meter slopes. And how we're going to round this off once it gets to the sides here is we place an angled triangle block like that, and then the invert right there. And we have this nice area we have to fill in now, and what we're going to do is use the square corner for that. And that fills in as such. Now we're just going to keep repeating what we were doing. I'm using F3 to switch between camera and mouse mode. A lot of players tend to have a preference for one or the other, but to be perfectly honest, the best method is just being fluent in both. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. Now we're just going to repeat what we were doing here. And we're going to rebuild the sides of our vessel that we weren't so careful with. Alright, and now the only appropriate thing to do is place a beam slope there. We're going to use 2 meter beam slopes to fill in the rest of this. Alright, now we can go ahead and fill in the bottom. And then the sides. We need to do the same with our above waterline section. And there we go, that's what our bow looks like to start. No advanced tactics required, just staggering our slopes a little bit backwards to give it that sleekness, and of course using angle blocks and transitions to get that overhang to part waves. Let's go ahead and start working on the stern. I'm going to go ahead and build our deckline back a bit more, giving us a nice starting point. And I'm feeling a somewhat modern look, so I'm going to try to give us a slightly square stern on this guy. I'm going to go for 8 meters of slope stagger on this guy, meaning that it would represent an 8 meter long slope if we had decorated it instead, but we're not. I'm going to go for 6 on this one. And we're going to do that just a little bit more. Now we're at the very back of our ship, so let's go ahead and fill in the back as such. We'll make this... I don't want to make the sides too round on it, so we're just going to extend this section downwards by 3 meters. And then for the rest of the way, we're actually going to go back into transition blocks. Alright, so how are we going to do the sides? Let's give it some rounded corners, and to do that is quite simple. We just take these alloy inverted triangle blocks, and then we build it out till the rest of the stern is square. Just like that. Now we have our square stern. Alright, now with the stern section above the waterline completed, it's time to get into the below waterline portion. If you struggle with this section, don't worry, this is known to be the hardest part of anyone's hull, so just bear with me for a second. I think I have a method that you'll find fairly simple to implement. First and foremost, we're going to start farther forward, so up towards the bow of the vessel on our stern, right where the stern slope begins. And we're just going to continue this line down to the sides of our hull. We're going to go pick up this beam slope here. What I'm going to do now is grab a triangle corner to round that off. And what we're going to do is, because that forms that upward slope, we're going to grab a 4-meter beam and just move it inwards until it meets across the middle of the hull. And now we just repeat that process. We go down. This time we're going to move one shorter, so let's get rid of that. We grab our triangle block, grab the 4-meter slope, and move across. And as you can see, it's slowly starting to rise. And to help integrate that, let's grab our 4-meter triangle block, inverted, put that there to help round that out. And now we just fill in the rest with blocks. As you can start to see, the shape is taking hold. All right, again. And now once we're that low, we finish that off with triangle. Switch to the 4-meter slope, and across we go. As you can see, we're starting to compress between the current section and the previous section, and we no longer have enough room for 4-meter inverted slopes anymore. So what we're just going to do is move down a side to 3-meter, or as narrow as you need to make it fit, and then there we go. And then we just continue as we were. We're almost there. Down one, 4-meter beam. We grab the 3-meter inverted triangle again to finish it off like that. 4-meter slopes. All right, we're almost done. So what are we gonna do here? It's rather simple. I'm just gonna freeform this. We're just gonna add a nice triangle block there, and as you can see, we're not quite at the end yet, so I'm just gonna repeat that step. We grab the triangle block, fill it in as such, and now we'll just place some beams down to get to the center. And then we just fill in this last part. And there we go. That's the hard part of shaping our stern done. And now we want to add propellers. So what we're going to do, and I'm just going to lighten this up since it's really dark. I'm going to make that a bit of an orange so we can just see what's happening under here. And we want to add 2 propellers. I think that seems like a good number. I'm just going to go in, I'm going to replace some of those slope blocks with beams as necessary. These are called skegs. These are kind of like fins that poke out of the hull, and that's what the propeller shafts run through. So with those in place, let's just go ahead and add our propellers. You can also implement rudders however you like. I'm not too picky. I know advanced rudders are a bit of a nightmare because that requires a spin block, but I think for all our intents and purposes, that will suffice. And there we go. That is a very simple hull done, without too much head math required. If you made it this far in the video, well, congratulations, I guess. The main bit of feedback I got off of my last 3 tutorials was people really just wanted to see me showing the work more, so that way they could not just digest the concepts that I'm talking about, but also see them in action, and I totally get that. This format, by that nature, is very new to me. It's a lot less, I guess, quality than what I'm used to doing or what I'm happy with. So please let me know if you found it useful. If you have any other tips, please let me know. Really exploring this process, and I'm finding my rhythm. As for future tutorial news, funnily enough, this wasn't even the next tutorial I had planned. I've recorded the entirety of a slope stagger tutorial, so again, no decorations in that. And then I kind of realized after finishing the hull you see behind me that I could simplify the process, and that's what this video ended up being. So if you're looking for a step up, don't worry, within the next week or so, there'll be another tutorial out for you soon. You guys have a great one.